terms of people power. So I encourage you to get involved in Met Council. You can become a member and get involved in the work we do. We run a hotline and clinic, and we do a lot of counseling work for tenants as well as organizing in the streets and in people's buildings. And I'm going to bring up Andrew Shapiro, the head of our programs, to say a little bit more about this training tonight and the program work we do.
Everyone, have a seat, and we'll pass around some sign-in sheets.
Oh, we got like, hold on a second.
Sorry, we had so many comments getting in. Sorry about that. Okay, so we'll pass around the handouts and sign-in sheets. Yes. So, just a show of hands, how many people here are hotline and clinic volunteers? I know a bunch of you just walked in. If you're a hotline or clinic volunteer, all right. And how many people are rent control tenants? I was going to say, I knew you, Walter, but up to that. So we decided to do this training, as Ava was saying. Part of it is we get calls on the hotline, people come into the clinic who have lots of questions on rent control, and we don't know very much about it. So the folks on the hotline thought we needed a training, and so that's what we're doing tonight. We also, as Ava said, have heard from you folks, the rent control tenants, who need to know more about how it works. And so today we're going to learning the technicalities of how rent control works, what are some of the forms you receive, and how that plays out in your life. When it comes to organizing, at the end, I'll let you know how you can get involved with Ava and the Real Rent Reform campaign. So I know many of you are angry about how much rent you're paying. We understand that, but that's not really for tonight. Tonight we're going to go over to make sure that you're paying what you should be paying, your landlord's not trying to pull things over on you on that. Does that sound good to everyone? So now I'm going to introduce Mr. McKee from Tenant Hub. Can you start us off?
Could I? You said this doesn't sound good to everybody. I'm
Okay,
going to
yes.
tell the truth. Most of us, if you've been a rent control tenant, have been one for 45 years. So a lot of people in the room know what they are, know some of the history in their life. So if you could get to a little bit of the organizing and what to do, yes.
This is not just for rent control tenants, it's for volunteers on the Met Council hotline who don't know enough about rent control to answer questions from people who call in.
Yeah.
Okay, the original workshop was just for volunteers in the hotline. And then
Yes.
Andrea asked if we would mind having rent control tenants be part of it, and I said yes, as long as we don't spend the time on the politics. Because that's not what tonight is about.
We'll be having on March 16th, I'll talk about at the end, a meeting where we will be talking about the politics. And that's when you can bring your anger, and Ava will help you direct it towards other people, which I know some of you already know who to direct it to. We'll be talking more about the politics of it then. But tonight is more about the nuts and bolts of rent control.
Okay. We're going to start off with this pop quiz on rent regulation, which should take a few minutes. You open the blue sheet to the second sheet and fill out the true or false, etc. And then we'll just sort of like an icebreaker. Don't worry, you're not going to be graded.
You're going to see if I really know what I'm talking about.
Is that all of it?
That's all of it. You sign in.
There's plenty of seats up front here.
So, over here is just perfect.
So what is the purpose of this meeting?
To learn more about rent control.
I know all about rent control. What do you mean learn more? How about rent reduction? Are you going to talk about that?
Yes, when it applies for rent control tenants.
What?
When it applies for rent control tenants, yes, it will be included.
It's going to be discussed?
Yes. So we'll be discussing when you're being overcharged, or if there's.
How we doing?
How long will this meeting last?
2 hours.
Okay.
Yes. And I need a pen.
Excuse me. Is there a phone phone number for Metropolitan Council on Housing?
Yes, it's on the bottom
I don't know.
of that blue sheet.
Okay, it is.
Sorry,
on here.
yes. Okay, how are we doing? Need more time? Okay. It's not, this is really not designed to test your knowledge per se. It's sort of like an icebreaker. Who would like to give us an answer to number one? New York State first enacted the rent control law in what year? You're too smart. You know too much. Very good. 1920. That is the first time that New York State enacted a rent control law in the aftermath of World War I. We're going to talk a little bit about that in a second. New York State, number two, New York is the only state in the United States with rent control laws. True or false? Not everybody, don't answer all the questions. True or false? False. California has rent control. Every major city in California except for San Diego has rent control. Washington, D.C. has rent control. What state used to have rent control before it was ended?
Massachusetts.
Massachusetts, correct. And the New York City real estate industry was instrumental in ending rent control in Massachusetts in 1994-96. I'm sitting at a lunch meeting, a very painful lunch meeting with a bunch of nonprofit and landlord groups, and this was in 1995 or 96. And a very famous landlord rep was sitting right near me, and I heard him say to his lunch colleague, we gave them $8 million for their campaign. We, the New York City real estate law. That was 20 years ago. The median annual household income for rent control tenants in 2013 was how much? What's good? Yes. Sorry?
21,000.
No. 29,000. That is the median household income according to the New York City Housing and Vacancy Survey. And that means that 50% of rent control tenants have incomes higher than that, and 50% have incomes lower than that, if you can imagine. And I'm sure some of you can, trying to survive in the city on that kind of income. The median annual household income for rent stabilized tenants in 2013 was 40,600. Okay, and again, that's median is right at the 50% level. Half have more than that, half less than that. So rent stabilized tenants are not as affluent as is often believed. When the citywide net vacancy rate is 5% or less, rent control and rent stabilization laws are mandated. True or false? Who wants to say false? Why?
That just seems.
It's a trick question.
Yeah.
They're not mandated.
Yeah.
They're permitted.
Yes.
They are not required. The city council is allowed to renew rent control and rent stabilization every 3 years if the vacancy rate, the net vacancy rate is 5% or less. It's a trick question. Rent control is unique in the United States. It's never existed in Europe. True or false? False. It goes back to the 19th century in some countries. France, Germany. There are more households with incomes below the federal poverty level in rent-regulated apartments than in public housing in New York City. True or false?
True.
True. Definitely true. Rent regulation is the biggest low-income housing program we have. That's not a criticism of public housing or other programs like Section 8. We just don't have enough of it. Okay. We're going to do a very brief historical overview of this very long 5-page outline. We're not going to go over all of it. You might want to take a look at the thing that's labeled History of Rent and Housing Laws in New York City State. You might want to take a look at this later, but this is really for a different class, but it's important to understand some of these dates. If you would look at the chart or the table on the third page, changes to composition of New York City rental and owner housing stock. These numbers are from the Census Bureau, the United States Bureau of the Census. The 1970 numbers come from the decennial census that the Census Bureau does every 10 years. And the 2014 numbers come from the latest Housing and Vacancy Survey, which is a sample survey done by the Census Bureau under contract with the city of New York every 3 years. And in fact, there is one going on right now as we speak. We will have the results of that either later this year or early next year. If you look at the numbers, we've lost a huge number of rent-controlled apartments in 44 years. There were, more than 1.3 million rent-controlled apartments in 1970. Today, in 2014, there were 27,000. Who knows what the new number will be? Maybe 25,000, 24,000. Apartments are removed from rent control as they become vacant, and the rent-controlled population is an aging population and people die off. Don't ever buy the real estate argument that no one ever gives up a rent control or a rent stabilized apartment if they get it. This shows you that, in a 44-year period, there's a huge amount of turnover. People move, people die, people got evicted, whatever. Rent stabilized housing, which originally was only post-war housing built after 1947. There were 350,000 apartments in 1970. Today there's something more than 1 million. There should be more, but we've had a number of deregulation things in effect. All other regulated, and this category has changed. It's defined differently now than it used to be. That's things like public housing, Mitchell-Lama, etc. Private unregulated. These are apartments in smaller buildings, fewer than 6 units that are not stabilized, 2 and 3 family homes, etc. Owner-occupied, that includes single-family homes, 2-family homes that are owner-occupied, and includes co-op apartments, condo apartments. And you'll see that there's been a very significant gain in owner-occupied housing over 44 years. Unknown was a category that census no longer does, so that's just a number from 1970, which is no longer applicable. And look at the total number of renter units and the total number of units. It hasn't changed that much. The total number of units has grown somewhat. The total number of rental units has remained largely the same. And of course, there are a number of reasons for this: deregulation, co-op and condo conversion, etc. So these are just sort of like to give you an overview of what we've got. Roughly, we've got 2 million rental units and 1 million owner units, give or take a few tens of thousands in the city. And the population is even more concentrated in rental housing than it is in owner housing. Okay, let me just walk you through a few dates that are significant. As we said, the first time New York State enacted a rent control law was in 1920. This was in the aftermath of World War I. There was a huge influx of population into coastal cities, especially New York City, after the war. While the housing supply remained essentially static, there were lots of evictions and huge pressure on rents. And without going into all the details, that's a different class, it ended up with the state legislature enacting what are referred to as the 1920 rent laws. These were in effect until 1929, when they were allowed to expire. And the state legislature began phasing them out in 1926 by deregulating first apartments that had rents of $10 a room, $15 a room or more, and then deregulating apartments that had $10 a room or more. And by 1929, they were allowed to go out of effect. Does anyone know who the governor of New York State was in 1929? No. Right? Close. Franklin Roosevelt. Yeah. Now, vacancy rate had gone from like less than 1% in 1920 to like almost 8% in 1929. And that was largely because there was a huge construction boom during a period of strong rent control. well, strong in a sense. There's a huge amount of housing built, and on the next page, there is a chart that shows you the number of units, the number of buildings that were constructed, and the number of apartments in those buildings during the 1920s. So it became hard to justify what were called emergency rent control laws when the vacancy rate was in excess of 8%. Then we got into World War II, and in 1942, soon after Pearl Harbor, not long after, the U.S. government enacted federal wage and price controls. Set up an Office of Price Administration, OPA, and that included rent control for a lot of cities, including West Coast cities, East Coast cities, etc., because people were moving into coastal cities for the war effort. It did not include New York City. And New York City was not brought under federal rent controls until November of 1943. Can anyone venture a guess as to why that happened? Sorry? Well, why would San Francisco and Seattle have rent control and not New York City?
Probably the pressure of,
Sorry?
probably influx of people needing housing.
Well, that would be a reason for them for us to get rent control. Why wasn't this long lag to bring rent control to New York City for the first time during the war? We wanted to control everything. You wanted to control wages, the price of groceries,
Real estate.
real estate, our real estate lobby. The New York City real estate lobby persuaded Congress not to include New York City in the federal price control, the federal rent controls. And finally, the pressure got so much that New York City was included. Just another illustration of the power of real estate in this town. After the war, Congress began phasing out federal rent controls. And they gave states the power to enact their own rent controls. And there was a struggle in New York, not only in New York City, but elsewhere in the state, to replace the federal rent controls with state rent controls. Long story short, there were all sorts of things that happened in here. Finally, in 1950, the governor of New York, Republican, got the state to pass a state rent control law, and it passed the Senate by one vote. Anybody know who the governor of New York State was at that time?
Dewey.
Okay, come on. No, Dewey, Thomas Dewey, Republican. And this is essentially, with some changes, this is essentially rent control as we know it today. I mean, there have obviously been some changes, the MBR, et cetera, but the framework of the law is not that different. At that time, virtually every rental unit in the state of New York, all across the state, was subject to rent control. Buffalo, Syracuse, etc. Over time, between 1950 and 1970, various deregulation mechanisms happened. Syracuse had rent control until 1972, for example, when it was ended by administrative action by the State Division of Housing. Apartments in 3-unit buildings were deregulated on vacancy starting in 1953, etc. Then in 1962, because of a political situation involving the governor at the time, anybody know who that was?
Rockefeller.
No? You're way off. I'm disappointed in you. No? Rocky. Governor Rockefeller was being criticized for allowing too many rent increases, too many hardship rent increases in New York City. And in fact, this had been a big issue in the 1961 mayoral race. When the Democratic incumbent, Robert Wagner, was being opposed by somebody who later became the Republican Attorney General, Louis Lefkowitz. He criticized Lefkowitz because Rockefeller was allowing the state housing agency to grant too many hardship increases for rent control apartments. Rockefeller did not want that to be an issue in his campaign for re-election to his second term. So what he did is he pushed through a bill, a very controversial bill, in the state legislature that ended state rent control, but only in New York City, and gave New York City the power to enact its own rent control laws. And the mayor at the time, Robert Wagner, opposed that bill, did not want it, but when it passed the legislature, the city had no choice but to enact its own rent control law, which the city did in 1962. Then in 1971, the same governor, Nelson Rockefeller, was part of a package of bills, I said one, including vacancy decontrol, passed what we know as the Erstad Law, which took back home rule power and gave it back to the state. So just be aware, New York City did not always have home rule and didn't even want it. People just assume that this is something that we had and we lost it, and that we always had it. It's not true. In the meantime, and this was part of Rockefeller's motivation, two things happened. 1969, the city council, based on the 1962 enabling legislation, which gave it home rule power, enacted rent stabilization for post-47 buildings built before, after February 1st, 1947, which cannot be subject to rent control. There was an attempt in the city council to bring all of these post-47 apartments buildings under rent control, and we would have had one system. But Mayor John Lindsay didn't want that, so he appointed a committee, 3 members of the real estate industry and 3 representatives of this administration to design what became the rent stabilization law of 1969. A very weak system compared to rent control. I have spoken to all 3 of the members of that committee who worked for Lindsay in the past, 2 of whom are still alive. And one of them said to me, and I believe it was 1977, maybe it was 78, we wanted it to be a lease system because we didn't want tenants to think they could stay forever. We wanted it to be a lease system because we didn't want tenants to think they could stay forever. And that's, Jenny's going to go over this, there's a very different form of tenure protection from rent control, which is called statutory tenancy, which in my view is vastly superior. But one of the results here is that too many tenants are under this, too many rent stabilized tenants are under the mistaken impression that if the landlord doesn't renew my lease, I'm going to be evicted. It's far from the truth, but it's what a lot of people believe. And that was by design. The second thing that happened was in 1970, the city council, again using the 1962 statute as authorization, enacted changes to the rent control law, including the maximum base rent system, which Jenny is going to get into in detail. This also included a 15% across-the-board rent increase that went into effect on August 1st, 1970. It included the first version of SPREE, which was later enacted by the state legislature because there was a question as to whether the city had the power to abate, freeze rents for tenants without state authorization, but the city council did it, and it never got struck down, and it eventually was put into state law. Okay, the rest of this I'm not going to go into, but let me just talk about what the system of rent adjustments was before the MBR went into effect, and then Jenny is going to talk about how the MVR and the MCR work. Under rent control prior to 1970, essentially rents were frozen. And you still have the real estate propaganda that New York City has World War II frozen rents. It's not true, but that's what they say. Essentially, rents were frozen and landlords had very few ways to get a rent increase. One thing they could do is they could get a 15% vacancy allowance. So every time an apartment turned over, they could raise the rent by 15%. And that was certainly an encouragement, the landlords who, quote, encourage people to move. Maybe not as much as an encouragement today, but people said it sounds pretty moderate, actually, now. They could get a rent increase for new appliances or new fixtures. So often, every time an apartment turned over, they'd put in new kitchen cabinets, new stove, new refrigerator, whether they were needed or not, because it was a way to get a rent increase. And the major way they got an increase was to apply and to demonstrate hardship. And there's no point really to going into the details about how this formula worked, but essentially the landlord had to file an application with the rent agency, open their books, and show what their income was and their expenditures were, and show that they qualified to get a hardship rent increase. And that was essentially the way the system worked before the MVR. So with that, I'm going to sit down and let Jenny take over.
So, I had a couple handouts. I hope you all have them. I just have a
If you don't, you have some in the back.
2-page typewritten thing that outlines what the MVR increases are. And I'm going to be talking mostly for those of you who are doing advocacy work and you're helping rent control tenants or tenants who call or confused about rent increase. Those of you who are rent controlled yourselves, I'm sure you know all this, and this will be the time you can take a nap or go get a drink of water or whatever. I'm going to just go over this. So as Michael said, the MVR system.
It's in the back.
Does somebody read?
It's in the back.
So I have this handout, let me just say, this is a typewritten thing, and then I have two, I'm sorry, it's stapled too, and then I have a separate one, which is I dug through my files until I found a fairly recent set of papers from the tenant fixing system. So that's a separate piece of it. So the maximum base rent system is based on a historical situation in the early 1970s where the city basically set a maximum base rent for apartments throughout the city and set up a formula for increasing those rents in order to make sure that the city was earning enough real estate taxes and that landlords were getting rent increases. And the formula that is used today and the system that was enacted at the time only makes sense if you go back in 1970 or 1972 and look at the city then and what was going on between the real estate industry and City Hall and how they negotiated settlement, and we have the MVR system. So today, when people say,